And here we go. Okay, Agricola, chapter 28. Eadem Astarte. So it's in the ablative. The EA here of this demonstrative pronoun shows it's ablative female. So in the same summer, cohors, this is our nominative, a cohort, Usiporum, of the UCP, which is the Usipian, the two frontier Roman provinces of Upper Germany and Lower Germany, see Germanica. There's a note in the lobe. Okay, conscripta, again, this is a female past passive going with cohors, which is female. So a cohort of these Usiporians was conscripted through the Germanies, per taking the accusative plural. And transmissa, again, the A coming from cohorts is female. And they were transmitted, they were sent across into Britannia, into Britain, in the accusative. So that means into or towards. A magnum and memorabilia facinus orsa est. So they had dared something and it didn't take in an infinitive. So facinus here is a neuter in the accusative. We see from magnum, it's a great crime or deed, and memorabilia is a third. It's nominative and accusative with a neuter takes an E and male and female takes an IS. So altogether, in the same summer, a cohort of the Usipoi who were conscripted through the Germanies, they crossed over into Britain and they dared a great and memorable deed. Okay, Occisio Centurion, so that's ablative absolute. So with a centurion killed, this is part of this facinus, this deed, this crime, and militibus, so at least one centurion's been killed and some soldiers, qui who ad tradendem disciplinem. So this is a gerundive for the handing over for discipline. These were teaching him the disciplines, and in mixti, manipulus. The maniples are groups or companies of soldiers. So in mixti just means they're mixed together. An exemplum and rectors habebanter. So they were had or considered as examples and rectors as guides or people who were governing them in this discipline of soldiery. Tris Liburnicas. Again, we've got three of these galleys. These are boats. Ad actis per vim gubernatoribus ascendere. So ascendere means they climbed aboard these three galleys, and they ad actis per vim through force, and so they made the action of the gubernators. The gubernator is the person who controls the steering of the ship. So the people who ascended the ship, they were using force to control where the ships were going. Et uno rimigate, so one of these gubernors, one of these helmsmen or the guides was rimigante, which is became an oarsman. So with one of them being made to row, and suspectus duobus, so out of these three ships, one of their gubernators was forced to row, and the other two were suspected, and eo, because of this or by this, interfectus, they were killed. So suspectus interfectus. Non dam vulgato rumore. So not yet, with this rumour, it's another ablative, being made vulgato into the commonly known. So not yet was the rumour of this known. Ut miraculum prae vehebantur. So vehebantur means it was carried past, prae means in front. So before this rumour had spread to the common people, as it was amazing and miraculum, so it caused astonishment, these ships had sailed by. Mox ad aquam atqui utilia raptum. So again, this cohort of the Usipors have killed this guy, they've got on three ships, but soon, for water ad aquam, and raptum, so they could seize utilia, they could grab hold of some useful things. Ubi ad pulicent. There's a couple of different texts here. One has existent, the other one has ad pulicent. So in the reading of ad pulicent, it means where they've pushed ashore, ubi's where, and ad pulicent. So when they had come ashore to get water and other things that they could grab that were useful. Cum plerisqui. Plerisqui means most or many, Britorum, of the Britons. That's genitive plural. There was congressi and prolio. So they came together. Congressi means they come together in battle. Many of these Britons were, this is a present participle in the genitive as well, going with the Britons. So with the Britons are defending Sua themselves in this battle, and sapi victor, so often they were victors, and aliquando, which means sometimes, pulsi, they were repulsed. Again, so this is this band of people, they've come ashore with many of the Britons who were defending themselves. They came into a battle, sometimes they were victors, sometimes they were repulsed or beaten away. Eo ad extremum inopia venere. Venere means they came, eo could be to there, or by this, to the extreme of inopia. Inopia is a genitive again, it means there's a lack of. And so, driven to the extremes of poverty, basically, of inopia, they were lacking things. Ut infirmissimos, which is a superlative in the plural accusative. So the most weakest suorum of their own people, the most infirm of their own people, mox soon, sorte, by a lot, by drawing lots. Vescurentor, vescor means to feast upon. So ductos means they were led, mox soon, to eat their own by lots. Atqui ita, and it is thus or so. Circumvecti, again it's plural, they've circumvected, which means they've travelled around Britannia. So thus they travelled around Britain. Amissus per inscitiam. Amissus means having lost something. It looks like it's plural ablative. Inscitia means through not having knowledge. So having lost through lack of knowledge, the regende navigus. This is the way of controlling ships. So they didn't have any knowledge of how to guide ships or navigation. And pro praedonibus habiti. So they were considered, again plural, pro as if, this takes the ablative, as if as though in praedonibus, which is the word for pirates or bandits. So they lost control of how they do the ships through lack of knowledge. They were considered as pirates. Primum, first by the Subis, these are a group of people, and soon intercepti sunt by the Friscus. So they were intercepted again by another tribe, first by the Subis and then by another group called the Friscus. Ac fure quas, and fure there were, quas those, per commercia venom datos. So datos is given and venom is a sale. So and then there were those who, per commerce, they were sold by commerce. So as they were sold as goods, I guess, as slaves. And in nostrum usque ripum, and in usque means as far as, it's an adverb. And so as far as nostrum ripum, so as far as our riverbank, or the riverbank where that they were holding, mutiano imentium. Mutianes are by an exchanging, basically it's a changing, a mutation of being sold, imentium. They were ductos, they were led, indicium means witnesses basically, tanti cases of such case or chance, and in lustravided. So they became very well known. You might want to say it's an illustration of how good they were if you wanted to pull apart the word. And so by this commerce and by the changing of being bought, they were led here as witnesses of such a great adventure, basically, such a chance, and they became famous. And we'll have a daily dictionary word on this short day's work. Emens, this is the present participle of emo, and ementium is the genitive plural, so of buying or purchasing, which went with the same people who are ductos. Okay. Initio, in the beginning, aestis, of summer, that's genitive. Agricola, our nominative. Ictus, as our past passive, means he was struck. Agricola was ictus, he was struck by this ablative unit here. A domestico vulnero. By a domestic wound, or something had wounded him domestically at the beginning of summer. Eno ante natum filium amissit. So amissit means he lost in the perfect. A filium, which is his son. Natum means born. Ante eno. So in the year before, his son was born and he missed him. He lost it. Quem, which casum, which case neque neither ut as plurici most fortium of the brave, virorum of man, so it's double genitive, where in English we just have one before the adjective and the verb and the noun. So as most of the brave men, ambitiosi, that's a adverb, which is ambitiously. So in the case, most brave men would become ambitious or be driven on, but neque neither per lamenta, neither through lamenting. So you didn't become more ambitious or lamenting, rosus again, and maiorum, this is in a grieving, tulip, so he didn't bear this with a grieving, mulia brita, which is an adverb for like a woman, so he didn't take it as most brave men, didn't become ambitious, nor did he lament again as the way of women. And in luctu, and in his grieving and his mourning, bellum inter remedia erat. So war was amongst the remedy for this. In his grief, he decided to turn to the war. Igitur, so therefore, praemissa classe, having sent forward, this is an ablative, pre means in advance, and missa means sent. So having sent his fleet in advance, quae, which pluribus locus, in many places, a magnum praedata. They did a great, basically you could say, acted as predators, they, if you want to put it that. So he sent his fleet in ahead with great ravaging of the places, and facere made an incertum terror. So made an uncertain terror amongst the people, and we have ablative again, expedito exercitu, with these unencumbered, expedito means as unencumbered feet, literally it means. So with his unencumbered army, cui, to which, that's the dative, from Britannis fortissimos, from the most bravest, and we have between the X and the fortissimos, we have this genitive inserted, which is pretty common. So from the most bravest of the Britons, and longa parce, by a long piece, exploratus. So he had tested them, he had explored these most brave of the Britons, and he got to know them. Ad iterat, he had added these, and these would have been in his unencumbered army. Ad montem Groppium pervenit. This is the perfect. So he reached the Mount Groppium, or Groppius, or I guess it's Mount Groppius. Quem yam, which now already the hostis, the istem hostis, the enemy, insiderat, they were sitting there. Okay, nam, 4, Britanni, is our nominative plural. The Britons, nihil fracti pugne prioris eventu. So they were nothing, fracti broken, the Britanni fracti. The Britons were not broken by the prior eventu, by the prior outcome of turning out of events, pugne, of battle. So the prior events of the battle had not broken them, and ultionem aut servitium. So that either would be revenge, ultionem, or servitude, expectante. Here's our present participle. So the Britons, they were not broken fracti, and they were expecting, they were awaiting either revenge or servitude. Tandem qui. And at last, docti, again, the Britanni, fracti, expectanting, and docti, they've now learnt that commune periculum, this is a periculum, is, I think it's neuter, commune, so the communal danger, propulsandum, this is a gerund, must be driven out by concordia, which would be in the ablative, which means they need to get together and work together. This common danger could be driven out, propulsum. Legationibus in foederibus, so this is plural ablatives. So by the delegations and treaties, omnium civitatium vires exciverant. So that excited up the vires, the strength, omnians of all the city-states, of all the groups. Okay, so they got together, they made treaties with nearby groups and sent delegations to rouse up men. Yamqui, and now, super trigintia milia, there was above 30,000 armoratum, of armed men, basically, of arms, aspicia bantor. This is passive, so it could be seen, could be viewed. and add a hook, and still add fluobat, and still they were flowing. Omnis juventus, all of the young men, and quibus cruda in viritus senectus, and quibus, those who were senectus, those who were old, but they were still crude or raw and green. You know, they still had some strength and some power. Clari, this is plural again, they were famous, bello in war. And sua quisque, and each one, gestantes, was basically wearing, gestantes, the sua decora, their own honourable insignias and stuff. Cum inter plurus, when amongst many, plurus is many, duces is the leader or generals. Virtue and genere praestans. Praestans is the present participle. They were outstanding praestans amongst their leaders in valor and genere of their amongst of one of the races. There was outstanding was a nomine Caligaris. So by name, his name was Caligarchus. Apud contractum multitudinem. Amongst the contracted or grouped together into a bunch was this multitude. Poscentem, this is now, the multitude is in the accusative, and the accusative is demanding, this present participle, demanding a prolium, a battle. In hunc modum, in this way, furtor, it is said, that's impersonal, so in this way locutus, he spoke. Calgarchus locutus, so Calgarchus spoke, it is recorded in this way.